In the wine business system, the wine is represented by two separate yet equally important groups, the winemakers and the wine sellers. These are their stories.
Hey, welcome to Cellar Rats to Cellar Rats. I'm Jesse Inman, and this is the third episode.
And I'm AA Ron.
Today we're going to tell you a couple stories from the road.
We've been in the industry, the wine industry that is, for about 14 years. From making wine to selling wine, we've accumulated some pretty crazy stories about our hustling and production. So today we're going to drink some good wine and tell you guys about some of the craziness that comes with owning your own wine.
I've made wine in multiple different places, so I run across a lot of different winemakers, a lot of different wineries, a lot of different cellars. And so this is a wine that I traded a buddy of mine that I work with. This is 2014 Pinot Noir from Steiner Vineyard. It's Sonoma Mountain in Sonoma County. And I think it's normally whole cluster. I think he does 100% whole cluster, which you don't destem the berries, you leave them on the clusters and you get a little bit more spicy. And I think he does, each time he does a wine, he does a specific label for that wine.
A one and done?
A one and done kind of thing, yeah. I've never had this vintage, but the other ones have been really nice.
You know, I probably am on film somewhere talking shit on somebody using the word grapey on a wine, but this actually has a grapey kind of grape nerds type fruit to it. It's very fruit forward.
I think it's evened out by the whole cluster. It's a little bit more herbal, a little bit more spicy because of that, but not over the top. It's really nice, really soft.
You get the fruit and then it's
soft, but it's got some good grip. So one of the wineries, I think it actually might be this is 2014, it might be 2015 or 16.
They do start to blend together.
Really, after 14 years, they all run together. I'm walking through the white wine barrel room, and I hear, "Oh God, please help me!" And I'm like, "Oh, some poor schmuck." So that's never a good sound in the winery.
So I got my cape.
And I painted my eyes. And I run over, and I'm like, "I better help." And I see this intern, and she's got her hand over where a valve, which like kind of turns on and off the tank so wine can come out. She's got her hand over the top, and there's no valve. It must have come off. She's crying. There's wine squirting out all over. She's soaking wet. She keeps screaming, "Help me, help me, help me." I'm like, I don't really know what to do. This is a new situation for me. So I go grab a guy with a forklift, and we go underneath the tank, and we tilt the tank, which is only 550 gallons. It was a Pinot Blanc at the time. Tilt the tank so we can get a torpedo, which we use for pump overs. It's like something you put in the top of a tank, right? So we pump almost all the wine out, so it's below the valve, so we can put the valve back on. And so all the wine's relatively protected because the yeast are producing CO2 during fermentation, so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, that makes you feel good. No, the wine was protected.
Minus the 30 gallons on the floor, It was awesome. So anyway, we get it all sorted out, and it turns out she was going up over the top of the tank for some reason, and
OSHA would not approve.
No, but I guess she had stepped on the valve, and there's a clamp that holds the valve on, and it must have not been on tight. They're not supposed to step on valves.
The old step on the valve.
And so then the valve comes shooting off, and I guess that was that. It's like probably the worst situation you could be in during harvest. But this has happened multiple times. Not exactly like this, but I've had people puncture my tanks with forklifts. I've had people open tanks and have wine come shooting out. And so this last time it happened, people were like, "I'm not touching your wine for the rest of harvest."
So the wine that I chose today is G.D. Varja. It's a Barolo called Albe. It was actually the 48 wine in the 2019 Wine Spectator Top 100. Not why I picked it, just random fact.
It wasn't 47.
But I had this, it ties into my story like you were saying earlier. I had this wine, I had Barolo before, which is from northern Italy in Piedmonte. Before my story takes place, but I hadn't really become a fan of it at that time. And I had this particular producer at an Italian restaurant on a market work trip in Colorado. And it was kind of my aha moment with Barolo where I was like, oh, this could be too tasty.
When they're good, they're good.
And usually Barolo can be very tannic, dry. Light color though, it always has color problems.
A little hot, maybe. Just me?
Like a little alcoholic, you mean? Yeah, and Barolos can be higher alcohol too for old world wines. This one comes in at about 14%, but you never know, huh?
Have you had this actual one before?
I haven't had the 15. I've had some of the older vintages. So this is actually my first time having it.
And these take a long time to open up too, if I remember. I mean, just across the board.
Yeah.
Barolos need a little bit more air.
And you get a lot of like strawberry kind of jam from
Asphalt, which is kind of
asphalt, which
tar.
sounds weird to say you're going to enjoy that. You get some tar, which sounds weird, but it's some complexities in there with the fruit. So to get into the story, sales is a big part of what all winemakers have to do, but specifically this former winemaker.
Making the wine is the easy part, selling is the hard part.
Yeah, and there was a real shift in my mind at one point where I had to go from, okay, I'm making wine to now I'm selling wine. And I
wasn't going to do it.
And this was about 2013. I'd done market work before, which is basically going into a market that sells your wine and you're working with the sales reps. You're trying to introduce your product. If you're not already established there, which we never have been to the markets we've gone in, we've always been introducing our wine. You work with the sales reps. You're trying to convince them to get behind your wine, and you're also trying to sell some wine while you're there. And in 2000,
have a good time.
And have a good time. Especially this was 2013, so I was a younger man. I've had some crazy experiences with sales reps. I mean, it runs the gamut on personalities. But this guy, they say, oh, this guy is a master somms, master of wine. I can't remember which one he was, but he was very, very educated in the wine world.
Good at debating, maybe, master debater.
And so he meet at a parking garage in Denver, Colorado. He picks me up in a minivan with about 4 car seats, but he doesn't look old enough to have 4 kids.
It's always fun when you start putting together like, okay, this is interesting. Okay, let's see who this person is.
Exactly. We get to the first account. He literally goes, hey, here's this guy, and walks away and he's on his phone doing something else. And I'm kind of like,
sweet.
Okay. So then we get back in the car and I'm kind of doing the math. Like, this guy does not give a about us. Fast forward through the day. That's pretty much the rest of my day. It's him kind of leaving me to my own devices. And then we get to towards the end of the day and he's like, hey, let's get some drinks. It's about 4 o'clock. He's like, let's go to the Four Seasons and
I
have
know
some
what this
cocktails.
guy's all about.
You're gonna bring us 2 absolute martinis.
And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm thinking 4 o'clock's a little early to be calling it quits on the sales trail.
Yeah, right?
But I'm also like, in my early 30s, so I'm like, sure.
You want him to work till 7 o'clock. Get your money's worth when you fly out.
And so then we have a cocktail, and then he's like, let's go have dinner at this Italian place, which we don't make Italian wine, so we know we're not going to do any of our sales
Right.
there. And so I'm like, sure. But at this time, too, I wasn't overly self-confident, didn't exude self-confidence in my sales ability.
Always be closing.
So I wasn't going to tell this guy, like, hey, I don't think we should eat there. We should probably eat at an account that actually would serve our wine.
Sir, I know I'm new in Colorado. Can we please?
Exactly. I think that's a bad idea. I start getting pretty buzzed, so I don't, my whole, I had a plan of selling wine starts to go out the window. I'm like, yeah, let's have a great time. And then he was like, you want to go to a Denver Nuggets game? I'm like, I hope I'm not paying for these tickets.
I don't even remember why I came here.
And I'm thinking, this guy wants me to buy the tickets. He calls the owner of the distributor. He's like, hey, are those courtside tickets free tonight? And he's like, basically, he's like, there's nobody more important in town. So go ahead, you can have them.
You just schmuck and go.
And I'm like, okay. So we go there, sit courtside, even though the Nuggets suck at this time. The drinks are flowing courtside. And then he's like, okay, game's over. I'm thinking, gonna drop me off. I'm gonna go back to my hotel.
My 4 kids.
He's like, let's go get some oysters and have some bubbles. And I'm like, okay, again, I don't make champagne. We don't sell champagne, but yes, let's go support more of your accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's about midnight. And then he's like, okay, the bubbles are all gone. So we go to another local after hours spot where like the servers and
the
kitchen staff hang up. And we're there, and after about 3 beers, I'm kind of like, I gotta go work tomorrow. And he drops me off, and he's like, I'll pick you up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's like 2 a.m. And I'll take you back to your car, and you can start your day. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, tomorrow's gonna suck, and this guy's not gonna pick me up. I woke up. He was there right at 8 o'clock, ready to go in his minivan with 4 car seats. Huh?
Yeah, it turned out 4 days later I found out he was divorced.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. We had a good time. We'll see you on the next episode. Ciao.